going to be doing a practice for Shakti, the Divine Feminine energy. This Shakti yoga practice is going to consist of movements that are going to free our pelvis, and most specifically work on our psoas muscle, which can get really tight when we spend a lot of time in seated positions. It's going to be a creative sequence that brings in movements to open up our energy patterns and bring a sense of creativity. So we'll start out by moving down onto our back. We're going to come into a supine position, making sure that you're comfortable. You can see I took my yoga blanket and I folded it right underneath my back because we're going to be down here for a little while. We want to be comfortable. And once you come down onto your back, stretch your legs out long, stretch your arms overhead. Use a really big inhale to create space in the front of the body as you lengthen. We're going to start this process of breathing down into our fingers and into our toes. So as you inhale, you spread the fingers and the toes out, and as you exhale, you scrunch them together. It's like you're breathing into your arms and your legs. We want to try to open up the pattern of our breath so that it's not just confined to the middle of our body. We want our breath to be dynamic and to be free to move anywhere that it's needed. We'll start by drawing the right knee into the chest. The left leg and the left arm stay really long. They're reaching away from each other. The whole left side of the body is where we're creating space right now. Then we go into that breath where you open the fingers and toes and then you scrunch them. And we'll lengthen out before we switch over to the other side. Draw your left knee in. The single knee to chest stretch, sometimes called the wind relieving pose. Now we're making space in the right side of the body. The right leg is long. The right arm is up overhead. We breathe into the fingers and toes. Inhale, expand. Exhale, scrunch them in. And next inhale, we lengthen the arms overhead, the legs out. We're going to take our left leg, cross it over the top of your right ankle, then slide the legs to the left side of your mat. We're going into a crescent moon on the back. So you can see I took my hands to the back of my head in like a little hammock position. Elbows are open out to the sides, and you're just bending your body to the side, making length through the right side of your lower back. If your psoas is tight, you might even start to feel that in the lower part of your belly, the right side of your lower belly into your hip. Inhale back through center. I'm going to uncross the legs. Take the right leg on top, just cross the ankles, slide your legs to the right side of your mat. Slide your arms over to the right, and you end up in this supine version of a crescent moon, trying to make that really graceful curving shape with your body. Creating freedom of breath into your belly. It's going to help to open up the psoas. Use an inhale, slide back into the middle, uncross your ankles, straighten the arms overhead. Open the fingers and toes, inhale wide fingers and toes, exhale, scrunch them in. Breathing into every cell of your body. Then we'll take the knees and bend them back. We're going to bring the feet onto the floor. So now we're going to elevate ourselves onto a block. And I'm going to just take my block, lift my hips up into a bridge, and slide the block underneath the pelvis. So you want to make sure that you're on the fused part of the spine, not on the vertebrae. Then we come into a supported bridge pose. You can find any comfortable spot for your arms. I took my arms toward the back of my head, but you can straighten them overhead. You can go out to the sides. Whatever feels good for your shoulders. You'll notice I have my hips on the medium level of the block. You can go for the lower level if that feels more comfortable. Now straightening one leg out, we're going to straighten the right leg for a half extended bridge. And then it's up to you if you want to leave the arms where they are or extend your right arm overhead so you get that full lengthening on the right side of the body. Then we'll go ahead and switch, extend your left leg out. The left arm may or may not want to reach overhead as well. Breathing that freedom into the tight spots at the top of the pelvis. We'll bend that knee, bring it back. Then we're going to the full version of our extended bridge with the pelvis lifted onto our yoga block. Now, if it doesn't feel good for you to straighten the legs all the way out, you can go out any amount. Keeping the knees bent is going to make this feel a little bit less intense. And then feel free to adjust the arms wherever feels good. I kind of have them out in a cactus position, but you might want to extend them overhead a little bit more. Now working on the right side, we're going to come back to that single knee to chest, drawing the right knee towards you. Just cupping your right hand onto the kneecap. Your knee won't come as close as it did in the last version of this, but it's going to be a different sort of sensation. Releasing that leg, drawing your left knee to chest, taking your left hand onto your kneecap, drawing it in, making sure that you are keeping the weight right over the top of the yoga block. Feel like your pelvis is very firmly planted onto that block. There's no wobbling. And that way, by feeling steady, you're going to have a better release. You won't be nervous that you're going to slide off. Release the left leg. And bending the knees, bringing the soles of the feet back onto the floor. We're going to switch the yoga block. So I'm just taking the block out, turning it down to its lower level. This is the most stable level. So if you're not there already, just flip down to the low setting on your block. Send your legs out long. Open your arms out to the sides. And we're coming into a supine crescent moon, just like we did earlier, but we're elevated on the block. So I have my left ankle crossed over my right ankle. The legs slide to the left side of the mat, and then the upper body slides to the left side of the mat, making that graceful crescent moon shape. You might want to extend your top arm. In this case, it would be your right arm. Open your fingers. Feel that expansion through the right side of your body. And coming back through center, sliding everything back into midline. Uncross your ankles. We're going to switch right ankle on top now. Slide your legs to the right as far as they'll go. Slide your upper body to the right side of your mat. It might feel good for you to keep the hands cradled at the back of the head like I have them. Or you may want to extend your left arm overhead, open through the fingers. Breathing into the belly, breathing into the top rim of the pelvis. Use your inhale, come back through center, align the body, uncross the legs, open the arms up overhead. Spread the fingers and the toes. We'll go back into that breath, opening and scrunching fingers and toes. Letting the breath have freedom of movement through the entire body, not just the lungs. And we bend the knees, bring the feet back. We can press into the feet to lift the hips up, take your yoga block out, and lower the hips back down to the floor. Once you have that block out, you're going to take both knees back, double knees to chest. And then if it feels okay on your neck, lift your head, bring your forehead toward your knees. Release your head down, send your feet up toward the ceiling, straight legs. And then we'll bend the knees. Bringing the knees hip distance apart, start to roll yourself side to side. As you do, there's this natural hip movement that happens. The knee sways away from you, the knee sways toward you. This is our movement of pelvic freedom and hip freedom. Then we'll open that into a circle, steering with the kneecaps, opening out to the sides, drawing back down through the center, and then switch that circle the other way. Open out, draw together and up through the midline. Nice big free circles. Now going into a little bit more of a free form kind of movement. Extend one leg up, extend the other leg up, drawing the knee in, keep the toes wide. Now just start to see what feels good for you in terms of movement. Stretch the legs up, stretch one leg down and then the other leg down. There's really no set pattern here. It's tapping into your inner wisdom of what feels good. Where do you need to move your body to create space? Pedaling the legs like a bike, opening the knees, drawing the knees together. Don't get too stuck on what you're supposed to be doing. Just do what feels good. Coming down, circling the knee, circling the leg. Circular movements are really great with the Shakti practice. A circular, soft movement is going to have that divine feminine energy, and especially with the hips. It's that ball and socket joint, so round movements are great for freeing up the energy and freeing up the muscles around the hips and the pelvis. Circling down to the feet, circling the ankles, moving any direction that feels good. Then as you come to a close, draw the soles of the feet together, reach down, take your hands, interlace your fingers around the outsides of your feet, around your pinky toes, draw your head up off the mat. You're in a version of Supta Baddha Konasana with the feet lifted off the mat, letting your inner thighs open. Drawing the knees back together, giving yourself a gentle rock from side to side. Then rolling over to one side, we're going to make our way up into seated. So if you like a prop underneath your hips, you can always sit on a meditation cushion or sit on a block. Whatever gives your spine a nice, straight, tall posture when you're seated. Drawing the hands into the heart. Taking a moment to feel the heartbeat. Inhaling, sweeping the arms up overhead. Turn your palms to face toward you and gracefully lower them down to the floor. Let your head bow. As you inhale, lift your body up, spread your arms out to the sides to a T. Space around the heart. Exhale, draw the hands back into the heart. Inhale, sweeping up to the sides, high reach. The palms turn towards you, lowering down, sweeping the arms down, palms facing toward you. And inhale, lifting up, thumbs go back, radiating out from the heart, then drawing the hands into the heart center. One more breath like that. Inhale, sweep the arms up, turn the palms toward you, lowering the back of the hands to the floor. Your inhale rolls up the spine, the arms expand out to the sides, thumbs reach back. Exhaling, palms come together, drawing into the heart. And we'll start to move into our seated position on the other side. If your legs were crossed, go ahead and cross them the other way, bringing evenness into the body. Take an inhale, draw your arms up. We'll start to move into a side bend. Drop your right palm, sweep the left arm overhead. Your inhale draws you up to center. Exhale, left palm to the floor, right arm overhead. And you'll see we're going to just sway. We're not going to hold one side or the other too long. We're just rolling to the right. Inhale, fill with breath to come through the middle. Exhale, roll to the left. I think of this like a piece of seaweed being washed from side to side as the wave rolls in and the wave rolls out. Now, holding the side that you're on, circle the top wrist. Fluid circles each way. Drawing the arm down to the front to a big circle. You start with that movement just being isolated in your shoulder joint, feeling what range of motion feels good, feels natural, noticing if there's any areas of restriction. Then open that movement up. Let your whole spine follow your arm through the circle. That fluid, sweeping kind of movement. Inhale, space. Exhale, release and roll down with it. Letting your fingertips, letting your hand guide you through the movement. Inhale, back to the center. Exhale yourself over to the other side, over to the left side. And we'll do that same process. Start with the wrist rolling in each direction. Open the movement down to the shoulder joint, circling from the shoulder. Take a few rounds to just see what the muscles around your shoulder feel like. Start to add some movement that goes beyond your shoulder into your spine, letting your spine roll forward, letting it roll open as you inhale. Following the whole arm, following your hand through the movement. Not worrying about what the movement looks like or how far you're going, just feeling it. Seeing how it feels. And we'll start to lift back up. Come up to the center, draw the palms together. Drop that into the heart. Inhale up. Let's go back over to the right side. So now we're really going to freeform this movement. Creative, dynamic movement. There's no set pattern that you have to follow. Go over to one side, roll through the wrist, through the shoulders, sweep through the spine. What movement does your body need? What is it asking you to do? Opening, closing, rolling back through the center, over to the other side. Free form movement. Now, an interesting part of this process is just noticing how you feel with freedom of movement. Are you used to the teacher always telling you exactly what to do? Is there a little bit of discomfort with having the freedom to do whatever you want? And if that's the case, just notice it and try to just go with it. See if you can let go of that discomfort and find an element of freedom. When we come back into center, we're going to return to our Hasta Vinyasa. We inhale up, exhale the back of the palms to the floor. Your next inhale draws you up, the thumbs open back, heart opening. Exhale, palms draw into the heart center. And another switch of position. We're going to roll over onto hands and knees. So from table, widening your knees, widening your fingers, drawing in your lower belly, setting your shoulder blades onto your back. We're going to start to rock the spine forward and back. It's the classic cat and cow that we know. But when we're practicing it for our Shakti practice, we want the movement to originate from our pelvis. First, the spine is going to start to follow the movement of the pelvis. The tailbone tucks under, and then the lower back rounds, the shoulders round, the head drops. Then the opposite way, the tailbone lifts, lower back arches, shoulder blades draw back, head comes up. Starting that movement from the very tip of the tailbone, letting it move up your body like a wave. Then the next time you're in your cat stretch, add a little wiggle side to side, just swaying gently. See how that opens up your lower back. Now lift into your cow stretch, head and tailbone up, sway side to side like that. Okay, now moving into this great circular movement. It's a side to side circle. You are opening yourself up, dipping down to the right, swaying to the left, circling back up, and then reverse that circle. Sway to the left, dip down, come up to the right. It's a side to side circle, very much focused on your upper back and your shoulders, your arms. We'll change the direction of that circle to a forward and back circle. Sometimes we call this one drinking lion. The lion drops its head down to the pool, takes a drink and scoops up to the front. Keeping the elbows tight to the sides as you do that, scooping down, lifting up. Reverse your circle, roll down and back up. Biggest circle that you can make with control in the arms and without causing any distress to the wrists. As you come back to center, let's walk the hands over to the right side of your mat. You're going to take a C curve with your spine, a sideways bend. Walk back through center, bring the hands to the right or to the left side. You're opening the right side of your body. Inhale back through center. So now we're going to go into that free form movement in your table. All those movements that we did, you can just mold them together. Any sort of pattern, any movement that you liked, you can come back to it. Alternating from one to the other. And just listening to your breath. Seeking out those areas of tightness or restriction, breaking those areas up so that there's freedom of movement, freedom of energy. And just like our last free form kind of movement, notice if this is uncomfortable for you in any way. If you feel strange not having the teacher direct you exactly what to do. It's a process of listening to your internal teacher, your own inner voice, seeing what that's telling you to do. When we practice listening to that internal voice, it gets stronger and stronger. When you're ready, settle yourself back into child's pose. Let your forehead ground. Bend your elbows, draw them back slightly so that the palms and the forearms make contact with the floor. Letting yourself settle there. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me. I hope you join me again to share your practice.